Hello, freaks, geeks, degenerates, and basement dwellers. Welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And we are going to explore the official map of the Sumy Oblast invasion as released by Ukraine's High Command. And it does provide some very interesting information. We'll see how this works. There's rain falling down at the moment. Hopefully that won't create too much background noise. But this is, we're starting off here with the official map released by Ukrainian High Command detailing Russia's invasion of Sumy Oblast. And here we have the Russian incursion, the invasion. Over here we have Tetino. And this map, this is the official map that everyone can study and take a look at, and it shows us some interesting, provides interesting information concerning Ukrainian positions. And we're starting off with Sumy Oblast, and then we're going to move over to Tetino. But so Sumy Oblast, we're going to compare the official map with Deep State's map. And this is really interesting. Basically, at Kinderkivka, we can see that it basically follows the same outline. Down here, this curve here, that is Andriivka, the blue area that Ukraine has reclaimed. We can see that Russian positions moves out to this forest here. This forest is a Ukrainian stronghold. Russia has aimed a lot of airstrikes at it. Next to Andriivka, we have Oleksivka. You can see here, yeah, same as on both maps. Both maps show the same thing. Russia is in control of Oleksivka. But then you can see here how things begin to differ when we're moving up into these fields here. Russia appears to be much more in control of this valley right here, according to the official map. But take a look when we get close to Bilovody. The official map has Ukraine in much more control south of Vodulahi and west of Bilovody than Deep State would have us believe, right? You can see how Ukrainian controlled territory is moving further north in this area on the official map than what we see on Deep State's map. Oh, hopefully it won't rain too much here. Also at Yablonivka, the official map has Russia more in control of this valley here. Coming down this way, as you can see. But then as we move on over to Unakivka, it lines up pretty much as we're seeing on Deep State and all the other maps. Interesting to note, the valley out here, right here, is firmly in Russian control, according to the official map. It's been some question marks if Ukraine had made a push here, since Russia had been shelling the entire area here for a couple of days. Maybe Ukraine tried a push but were pushed back, and Russia is now in control. But then, moving further east, this part here, right here, is not under Russian control on the official map. Ukraine is in complete control of this forest around the village of Sadki. Here we've seen this push on several maps, but according to the official map, this is not a thing. Ukraine is in control of this entire forest here around this massive valley with the town of Sadki, village of Sadki at the end. So basically, key points is that Ukraine is in full control of this area here. They have pushed up further between Vodulahi and Bilovody. And yeah, Russia has more control around Yablonivka essentially, and they control some more fields here in this area. Otherwise, the maps do appear to be pretty spot on, and really interesting or key takeaway is that Russia is in full control of this valley at least. But now we're going to move over to the really interesting things going on at Tetino. And at Tetino, we have here the official map released by Ukrainian High Command, and here you have Deep State. It doesn't matter which map, basically they have Ukraine in control of this area here. and they pushed up here, contesting territory all the way up to the factory here and what have you. Then you have some more mappers showing that Ukraine is in control over here. They pushed up further here, so Andrew Perpetua has Ukraine contesting territory here. But I mean, the Ukrainian High Command, they're not giving away anything here. But take a look what they are giving away right here. This is this part here. And no mapper that I've seen has highlighted Ukraine being in control of this part of the Kursk in Glushkovo County. They are mainly focused on Ukraine making pushes at the Tetino and pushing in here in this area. Nothing that I've seen indicates that Ukraine has made this push that we're seeing here. And that is really interesting. So Mayakovsk 73's map, Tetino, we can see here where Ukraine has pushed in and contesting areas, contesting territory down here. Nothing about the situation at Wolfine. Moving over to Andrew Perpetua's map, here you can see how Ukraine has pushed in around Tetino, contesting the factory, controlling territory over here, contesting area here, and contesting here, but nothing in this area that the Ukrainian High Command is talking about. So if we move over to Deep State and take a look, the yellow, light orange area, that is where we do believe we have Ukrainians over here in Tetino. They have pushed out here to take control of territory. They've taken control of the woods over here, and the orange is contested, what we believe to be contested territory by Ukraine over here, pushing up here. They've pushed in to contest the factory here and potentially pushing up this way as well to reach this highway, this country road leading straight into town. And according to Andrew Perpetua, we might have Ukrainians operating in this part as well. But on top of this, the official map released by Ukrainian High Command on the 1st of June, or was it? Yeah, I believe it was 1st of June. We get this part as well, where you have, according to them, Ukrainian control right outside of these very important border towns between Kursk and Sumi Oblast. And why is this significant that Ukraine is pushed in here and are apparently in control of this tiny portion of the Kursk of the Glushkovo Rayon? Ukraine, there was, as we remember, there was a massive battle in and around Veseloye. Ukraine came in through Novoput and elsewhere here and tried to advance on these border towns from the east, and also made some attempts to the west and tried to overwhelm them and take them. Had the Ukrainians managed to do that, they would have been able to move in troops and resupply, reinforcements and everything through the existing road network and properly support the battle at Veseloye. Ukraine failed in taking these border towns, which meant they had to move everything through some breach points along the border, through dragon teeth and the minefields, making it easy for Russia to counter them with artillery and drones. Now, it does appear as if Ukraine has secured all of this right next to the border towns, potentially opening up for Ukraine to move troops en masse, relying on the road network, and supply them properly with logistics if they are able to take control of these border towns. That is a very significant development if this is indeed true. This will give Ukraine lots of options, and I'm thinking Russia is probably putting a lot of pressure on this part of the battlefield to deny Ukraine the ability to push into this border town of Krasno, whatever it's called. So Ukraine can't move in troops to further put pressure on Russian positions in Glushkovo Rayon. And that might explain why we are also hearing so much about Ukraine almost surrounding Tetino, because Russia has to allocate forces away from this battle to contain the Ukrainians down here. Really interesting stuff. I think that is the most significant update that we could see on that official map. Now, we've also heard rumors that Russia may receive even more support from North Korea in the shape of 20 to 30,000 troops. Will they be used against Ukrainians within Ukraine here, Sumi Oblast, or, I mean, seems maybe more likely that they will be used to push Ukraine out of Tetino and out of Kursk if Ukraine is now slowly pushing in, right? So maybe that is what Russia will do if they do receive these North Korean troops, use them to defend Kursk, and that might tie up Russian forces to be moved over to fight here in Sumi Oblast. Seems reasonable. Or you never know, maybe Russia will deploy them onto Ukrainian soil, and well, we'll see what happens then. But I'm thinking primarily they might be used to fight Ukrainians in Kursk, and that will allow Russia to move their own troops over to Sumi Oblast. I think it's also telling that if Russia needs 30,000 North Koreans, they apparently lack troops. They lack manpower. There's also reports from Russia that they're looking into ways to force more conscripts to sign career contracts and become full-time soldiers. Basically, trick or force conscripts into signing on to become full-time soldiers, so that they can be pushed to the front line. All of this combined does seem to suggest that Russia is struggling to find troops. We also know that they're struggling to fill up job positions all across the country because so many men have been, picked up and to join the war. So there's a shortage of in the worker force, and on top of that, it appears as if Russia only has a 3-to-1 advantage here in Sumi Oblast. Russia has always strived to have a 5-to-1 advantage, and all of a sudden they only have a 3-to-1 here in Sumi Oblast. I think that's interesting. And Andrew Perpetua, who has made this map, has made some interesting observations about the situation down here south of Kupiansk, where he has noted, watching several videos, that there are very few Russians defending trenches in this area, and that has allowed Ukraine to primarily make this push in just a few days, overrunning weak Russian positions. So, I don't know, all things combined, that might suggest that Russia is experiencing trouble finding enough manpower to continue the war if they will get 30,000 troops from North Korea. If they only have a 3-to-1 instead of a 5-to-1 advantage here in Sumi, we're seeing some trenches low on manpower, and all things combined, it does seem to suggest that Russia has issues finding enough troops to continue the war effectively. And also, like I always do, we have to keep reminding not only ourselves, but especially keep reminding the Vatniks that in 2 years' time, Russia has only secured 1% of Ukraine. We know this because in September of 2023, they began the push towards Avdiivka, and since then they have been pushing towards Pokrovsk, and by September of 2025, in just a few short months, that means they've been pushing for 2 years from Avdiivka into the area here surrounding Pokrovsk, and in that time they will have secured 1% of Ukraine, 0.5% per year, in other words. So any pro-Russian outlet that talks about a Ukrainian collapse is spreading lies and bullshit. If it was a collapse, you would have seen a very different map after 2 years of warfare. What we're seeing is a controlled fighting withdrawal conducted by the Ukrainians, and securing 1% in 2 years is not impressive at all. It shows that Russia is in over its head, and thousands of Russians died for basically no gains whatsoever. And I mean, you can see it. The white outline here is the Russian defensive line from 2023, and Russian gains have hardly moved at all along the front line in 2 years' time. And it has only moved here from Avdiivka to Pokrovsk, and this is 1% in 2 years' time. And so yeah, anyone claiming that the Ukrainian front line is about to collapse, that is proof that that guy is lying, outright lying to you. And that's it. I hope you found it interesting. And as always, go march Ukraine and give them hell.
Banners fly in the crimson air, still meet steel in the kingdom's glare. We are the shield, we are the flame. Stand for the land, defend its name. Bleed for the realm, hold the line. Freedom's call is a sacred sign. Through the fire, through the storm, we rise as one where heroes are born. Boots on the ground, hearts of stone. We fight together but not alone. The brutal tide will break on us. We're the wall they'll never crush. Lead for the realm, hold the line. Freedom's call is a sacred sign. Through the fire, through the storm, we rise as one where heroes are born. Boots on the ground, hearts of stone. We fight together but not alone. The brutal tide will break on us. We're the wall they'll never crush. Lead for the realm, hold the line. Freedom's call is a sacred sign. Through the fire, through the storm, we rise as one where heroes are born. The darkest hour burst of fight. With every wound, with every cry,